Alright, I think I finally got this sucker figured out. This controller right here will control two objects. One can be lights, one can be a motor, or it can be a fog machine, whatever. This one, made by a different company, also controls two objects. And right now I have it hooked up to control a fog machine. I'm using a 12 volt motion sensor that came from the Picoboo company. So that did not come with this board. That is now wired to trigger this board and to trigger that board. And the way I did it was by connecting the ground to the ground, the 12 volt power out to the 12 volt power to the motion detector. And then I had to piggyback this trigger back into the Picoboo right there. And then of course I just set the ground right there. That seems to be working. So here's the fog machine down here on the ground. I haven't put all this stuff together yet. I'm still testing. But if I go and trip this motion sensor, you'll see both objects run, or both controllers run through their program. So there, I just triggered it. That one is already running. This one delayed just a half a second. But as you can see, it's shooting out fog. And it will shoot until that red light right there goes off. Now it's done. Now it goes through a delay cycle. This is the cool thing about this board, is that I can program it for up to 13 minutes worth of animation using one or both of these relays. And then I can delay the board to not allow another trigger to be accepted for up to 30 minutes if I want. Now I know you're thinking, why would you want to do that? Well, sometimes neighborhood kids can drive you crazy setting the same thing off over and over and over again. So if you put it on a little bit of a delay, 30 minutes is a little extreme, but you know, most of them have a 2-minute attention span. So if you give it a 2-minute delay, that'll keep it from triggering again until the next group comes up, possibly. So I've been testing with these boards, and my problem with these is that they're limited in what they can do, and it's mainly limited by my budget, not necessarily by this company. This particular device has no sound. It only controls relays and provides power out to motors, which is extremely important because this one does not provide power to motors. So with this one I can use 5 volt, anything that'll work off of actually a 12 volt motor I can run. So the limitations to it though are that it only has a 2-minute programming time. And with the 2-minute programming time, I have no way of delaying this thing to keep from triggering again. So every 2 minutes this thing can trigger. And that's if I run the full 2-minute program, which I'm not doing, and it's very rare that you probably would. So you could build in a delay if you had a relay that did absolutely nothing, or if you kept your relay closed or open to operate your device at the end until the 2-minute time was up. You could build in a delay that way, but it's only still good for 2 minutes. So what I'm trying to control is this thing, okay? This is a coffin I built, and that's my corpse. And the idea was for this door to be closed, that actuator motor to be triggered at the same time that the lights are triggered. And I know you really can't see the lights right now. I've got them hidden inside of his cavity, and I got one down there. I have these little bitty ones that I haven't targeted yet. Where's the other one? Well, trust me, it's in there. Anyway, so the idea is when this thing triggers, the lid opens up slowly, the fog machine shoots off inside here, and I've built a shelf for it, for the fog to be there, and the electronics go up here. I've hidden it all with a weed block mesh, so that when I put my sound and everything in there, you won't be able to see all my electronics. And right now I don't have anything hooked up and programmed, so I can't really test it. or show it to you, but I'm working on that. This has been a struggle, let me tell you. This actuator's cool. It moves kind of slow. The problem with it, it takes up one complete controller. It takes 2 relays, one to open it, one to close it. That's kind of a problem. You shouldn't have to take up 2 relays to open and close something. But where I'm going to be using this, I cannot use pneumatics because my power source is limited. And the corpse will rise based on this wiper motor. And the wiper motor will be controlled with yet another picoboo product called the picoboo. And with that, I can control the speed and the direction of how far that wiper goes. So the idea is to connect this board. Now I'm probably not going to use this one for this prop. I'm just going to use this board. And the other board that I have that's in there, you can barely see it, but that's the one with sound. I'm going to connect those 2 up, and I'm going to connect the picoboo to probably this one, so that the picoboo will control the wiping motor, and the main one I can share power with this actuator here, and it will actually control the lights. Now the lights stay on all the time. I can't control them unless of course I go buy another one of those, which I'm not going to do for this Halloween. So I can control the whole thing with really 3 control boards and 1 trigger. And based on all my testing and frustration that I've had throughout this project, this ought to work fine. But there is still a chance that I'm going to find one more hiccup. I have taken this thing apart more times than I care to mention. I have tried all kinds of combinations with the boards that I had, and that's when I realized I had to have one of these and one of those in order to make this really work. And of course the picoboo, because I can't have this washer motor or this wiper motor going around and around and around. This corpse cannot go up and down, up and down, up and down. He has to go up like this, and I can't show you because it's connected, but he has to go up and back down for the full sequence of this scare. And at the same time, he's got to, he's going to talk. His mouth doesn't move, but you'll see it. I'll do another video of the whole thing once I get hooked up and programmed. But that's what I've learned. These boards are really, really cool. They have a lot more capability, I think, than these boards. They're a little cheaper than those boards. But the main thing about them is they can't supply power to a motor. So if you have a motor or an actuator or something that's not pneumatic, you have to get a power source to it, and then this becomes only a trigger control. Since I didn't do all that this year, I can't show you or tell you the frustrations I'm going to face when I try it next year. But these boards are really cool, and they have onboard sound versions that last a little bit longer. They're, I think, programmable to 9 minutes, and they also have a 4 relay version, which is really cool because then you can control 4 devices. But for something like that actuator right there, this board can't control it because that has to have power, and it has to take up 2 relays in order to go back and forth, and this board cannot supply the power. So rigging that one up would be really tough. Using this one, you just kind of steal the power from this board, or borrow it, however you want to look at it. And it works, but it takes up a whole controller. It takes up 2 relays. So I do not recommend this product unless you really know this is the only thing you want to do is open up a door. And you're going to waste 1 complete controller for it. If that's your application, that thing is pretty cool. If it's not your application, I highly recommend pneumatics if you can use them, or figuring out how to use a wiper motor and a control like that one that can control the speed and distance, direction. Anyway, that's what I learned, and I'll talk to you later.